So I love Invader Zim. This was my favorite cartoon to watch when I was a kid. So I'm gonna rank every single episode of Invader Zim. I'm not gonna put the movie on this list only because it's a full movie, so it's kind of unfair to compare it to the episodes. But if you really like this video, make sure to watch my reaction to Invader Zim. I did every episode, and I'll link that in the description below. So I don't want this video to be so long, so let's just get started. The first episode, The Nightmare Begins. So this is a really good episode. I think this is like one of the best pilot episodes in anything, honestly. It has really good world building. You're introduced to all the characters, and it really set the tone of the series. This episode was pretty good. That I just wish that the episode was more like episodic, kind of like Rick and Morty or Adventure Time. Just because, I mean, for the first episode, it was really good. Like, you get to know about, the Tallest, the Urkin Empire, which they pretty much, commit genocide and enslave other planets. It's pretty interesting. So, The Nightmare Begin is definitely an S. Like, I think all the full episodes of Invader Zim are S's, but this was a pretty solid episode and a really, really good pilot episode. Now, let's go for the next episode, Bestest Friends. Bestest Friends was one of the two episodes that everyone remembers. Bestest Friends and Dark Harvest are like the most talked about episodes of Invader Zim, for good reason. Bestest Friends really set the tone of the series. It started out really, really sweet and wholesome. Well, actually, let's cut the wholesome part because Zim actually tortured a bunch of kids to be his friend. But it was sweet because they had a cute little montage. But the episode takes a really dark turn towards the end of the episode where Zim literally rips Keith's, eyes out, which is a pretty damn whoa moment. And that's really one of the reasons why people talk about this episode so much. Apparently, Jonah actually wanted to kill Keith, but Nickelodeon wouldn't allow him. Bestest Friends is one of the few episodes, or one of the short episodes, that's going to be an S tier. So Bestest Friends is definitely an S tier. Now, let's move on to NanoZim. So, NanoZim, for me, I think this is a solid B. This is like the first episode where Gaz really gets to do anything, and Gaz is like my second favorite character, besides Gur. And basically, if it weren't for Gaz, Dib would have been like fucked. Because in this episode, Zim was like trying to, destroy his brain or something, which would have made him stupid. But since Gaz is a gamer, and apparently gamers are good at, anything that resembles a video game, she was able to beat Zim. So the little battle inside Dib was pretty cool. So this is a solid B. And then we got Parent Teacher Night. Parent Teacher Night, man, this is I almost want to put it in S, but we'll put it in A. The reason why I like this episode is there's a lot of good stuff in this episode. Whether it's Gur scaring the makeup lady salesperson and then coming back later wearing said makeup. The aspirin commercial, I swear, that stuck with me like forever. It was so ridiculous. The way the dude was spazzing out because of his back. The little part at the beginning where Miss Bitters actually like videotaped Zim. The part where Zim brought his robot parents and they just completely acted like crazy and Dib was just loving it and laughing at him. And there was a little moment with Professor Membrane where like his lab explodes. So yeah, Parent Teacher Night was a solid episode. There's a ton of good jokes in this one. I want to say this might be maybe one of the funniest episodes. Not too sure, but honestly, like I said, there was a lot of good stuff in it. The next episode we have is Walk of Doom. Walk of Doom is an A. There's a lot of good Gur moments in this, from the beginning where Gur's just running around the house, him crying about his cupcake, uh, his booster's not working because it has tuna in it. Um, Gur was just adorable in this episode, and I really like how you actually got to see like more of the Earth as well. Like the Earth in Invader Zim is just so weird, gross, creepy, and miserable. And seeing Zim walk around in that environment, I mean, that's pretty like I think it's interesting. So I really like seeing, the city from Zim's perspective. So Walk of Doom is a solid A, so we'll put it in A. Alright, now we got Germs. You know what? I'm gonna put Germs in B. Now, it's kind of a gross episode, honestly, because you actually see the germs. But the reason I want to put Germs in B was because if you don't know already, Gur's like my favorite character, and there's a lot of cute Gur moments in here. Like the part where he just randomly rolls around and then tries to hug Zim. I love the little part where Zim put him outside and he was just like hanging on his leash. So Germs is a solid B. Oh boy, Dark Harvest. Well, this is one of the very few short episodes that's definitely an S. Everyone knows this episode, Dark Harvest. So, of course, it's like one of the darkest and grossest and most disturbing episodes of Invader Zim. And this is really the episode that a lot of people remember, even people who never watched the show. It's pretty crazy. But aside from, the grossness and disturbing aspect of this episode, I gotta say, I do love the chase scene between Zim and Dib. Like, it was kind of like a horror type thing, and it was done very well. Dark Harvest is definitely an S. Alright, next we have Attack of the Saucer Morons. This episode I remember not liking as a kid, but after rewatching it, there were a few things I liked about it. Of course, I forgot this episode had Gur dancing in it, and that's like one of the most iconic Gur things, at least to me. And then I did like the little chase scene towards the end of this episode, but I think one of the reasons I sort of like this episode more is because you got to see how Zim is actually legitimately afraid to get caught. Like, the consequences of Zim getting caught are pretty dire, and you're reminded of that in this episode where it shows Zim on the operating table. So I kind of like that part. So this episode is I think it'll be our first C. Like, it's just like a little boring in a lot of parts, but it has a few decent moments. Now we got The Wetning. The Wetning, it's a B. The reason The Wetning's a B is because it's just a classic battle of Zim and Dib. Of course, Dib has the upper hand at the beginning of the episode, but by the time the episode is over, Zim completely destroys Dib. Because, he's an alien, he has the technology. So I always like the episodes where Zim and Dib just battle each other. Also, it has Pissed Off Gaz, and I like Pissed Off Gaz. Alright, so next let's do Career Day. Career Day is... We're gonna put Career Day at... I think C. I think C is fine. The reason why C was because... Honestly, this episode was gross. And it's not that I don't like gross things, it's just Zim's neck was really nasty. Especially the part where, like, the green just, like, squished or fell on those fries. That's absolutely disgusting. But what I did like about this episode is where you got to see all the different careers. Zim is destined to be a food service worker, of course, and then you have Dib, who he actually got his dream job, which is pretty funny. But aside from that, you got to see all the different jobs that there were. There's like ninjas, samurais, stuff like that. I enjoyed the beginning part of the episode, but overall, it's a very solid C. Battle Dib is gonna be the first D. So for this list, I only went S to D because I don't think there's any truly bad episodes of Invader Zim. Battle Dib, it's not a great episode. The problem with Battle Dib is it's just boring. Like, there's not a whole lot going on in Battle Dib, except for him battling, but it's not that interesting because he's like battling some random dude. The only parts I enjoyed in Battle Dib was just Gaz freaking out over pizza. So yeah, Battle Dib's definitely a D. And now we got Planet Jackers, which... Planet Jackers, honestly, I kind of liked Planet Jackers, so we'll put Planet Jackers in B. The reason I liked Planet Jackers was because it was one of the very few episodes where we actually get to see Zim like go up against other aliens. He got his ass kicked pretty bad, but it was still fun to watch. And at the beginning of the episode, you got to see the other invaders, which I thought was pretty neat. So Planet Jackers is a B. Rise of the Zip Boy. Rise of the Zip Boy is a C. You have another gross episode. I guess this show really loves its like gross zits and, bodily fluids. It was an okay episode. It had to do with mind control, and then of course Gur has a few decent moments, like the pizza where he ate the pizza, and then him putting bacon in the soap was pretty funny. So Rise of Zip Boy is a solid C. Invasion of the Idiot Dog Brain. This is a B. Why is it a B? Because I like Gur, and it's a Gur focused episode. Basically, Gur he takes control of the whole house, so you have a lot of good Gur shenanigans in this episode. So Invasion of the Idiot Dog Brain's a decent B. Ooh, now we go to one of my favorites. This is definitely my favorite short episode, Big Bad Rubber Piggy. Definitely an S, no question. Honestly, I love this episode. Not only that, but Big Bad Rubber Piggy was like my longest reaction of the short episodes. I think I was like 16 minutes or so. My short episodes for Invader Zim are usually like 10 to maybe 12 minutes. But I had a lot to say in this episode. And be sure to check out my reaction if you're interested. The reason I love Big Bad Rubber Piggy is because Zim is absolutely evil in this episode. This is literally the only episode where Zim legitimately tries to kill Dib. And I think I find this episode darker than Dark Harvest. Because while Dark Harvest was kind of dark and disturbing, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, some of the body parts Zim replaced made some of the characters look like Looney Tunes. Like, one kid had a vent in him, and he was just a big square. I mean, that was silly. Big Bad Rubber Piggy, it's not silly. It's played pretty straight. Basically, it involves, like, time travel with Zim replacing objects that Dib used in his past. So, Dib starts off as a normal kid, and then he eventually loses a hand, and by the end of it, he's on life support. Like, Zim fucked Dib up in this episode, and he was legitimately trying to kill him. And Dib did actually die for like a few seconds, but of course he came back to life because Nickelodeon wouldn't allow, Dib to die. And I'm not sure if this is true or not. It might just be a rumor. But I think Jonas wanted to like kill Dib off and replace him with someone else. If he would have done that, that would have been crazy. But like I said, Big Bad Rubber Piggy's an S. This was a really good episode. Honestly, it should have been a full episode, to be honest. But hey, it's an S, and that's all that matters. So Big Bad Rubber Piggy might be my favorite short. No, it is my favorite short episode. I just don't know if I like it more than the longer episodes. Also, on this tier list, they're not in any order. I'm just putting them S, A, B, like whatever, they're not in order as far as the line goes. Now let's go on to A Room with the Moose. A Room with the Moose is definitely an A. I kind of feel bad for both Zim and Dib in this episode. Like, the episode starts off with Zim watching all the times the kids were messing with him, Dib being one of them. But Dib gets bullied in this episode as well. Like, I really want to see these freaking kids, like, have the worst fate possible because they're so horrible to Zim and Dib. And at the end of the day, Dib actually saves them, which I don't think he should have. But A Room with the Moose was a pretty funny episode, and, I enjoyed it, so it's an A. Alright, Hamster Gaddon, if I said that right. Okay. B or C, let me think. Okay, so Hamster Gaddon had a scene that stuck with me forever, and it's that scene where, what the hell was the hamster's name? Pee-Pee. Yeah, when Pee-Pee was walking through the city, and they played that silly-ass music, I absolutely love that, and that lived rent-free in my head for years. And another thing I liked about this episode is you actually get to see Zim and Gur just chilling, and you don't see that often. They were both pretty, like, chill and eating snacks together. Overall, honestly, it wasn't a bad episode, so I think Hammergeddon is a B. So we'll put this in B. Alright, next we got Plague of Babies. So, like I said before, just because it's in a D doesn't mean it's like a terrible, terrible episode. It's just, one of the weaker episodes of Invader Zim. I hate baby episodes, so Plague of Babies is a D. The only thing I really liked in this episode, aside from a few Gur moments, was when the baby transformed into this weird, gross monster thing. Because, of course, Invader Zim being Invader Zim, it has to be gross, creepy, and over the top. So that was the one thing I did like. But it's still a D, so Plague of Babies is a D. Okay, Bloaty's Pizza Hog. This one is gonna be the last short S tier. Bloaty's Pizza Hog is my favorite Gaz episode. So basically what I like about Bloaty's Pizza Hog is that Gaz is just determined to get her pizza. That is very relatable. Like, I seriously relate with Gaz in this episode. Like, all she wants to do is eat pizza with her father. So, of course, Dib being Dib, he's fighting Zim. So, Gaz has to go rescue him, and she does a pretty good job beating Zim. All just so she could get pizza. Like I said, this is definitely my favorite Gaz episode. Alright, so we got Door to Door. Door to Door is an A. It's your typical fundraiser episode, but of course, it being Invader Zim, it has a lot of crazy stuff going on. So, what I like about this episode is it's just so fun watching Gur and Zim try to sell candy bars. And at first, it goes pretty bad for Zim, but then he realizes, hey, I'm an alien. I could just brainwash these people, which he puts a device on their head, which shows one of the coolest things of Invader Zim. Basically, it shows what it would look like if the aliens actually did take over Earth. That goes pretty hard. That was definitely one of my favorite scenes. Like, you get to see, like, all the destruction. Like, one of the aliens, like, puts a girl in his pocket. You see the humans, being, like, carted off or whatever. Fun fact, this episode, that part where it shows the destruction, that was actually censored, apparently, because I guess 9/11 or something. I think there's an unedited version somewhere on the internet. But, yeah, Door to Door is a solid A. I really enjoyed this episode. Alright, FBI Warning of Doom. I think this is a C. The whole episode is like Zim has to take back a video for a late fee or something. And then he like gets locked in the mall, and then there's this crazy dude trying to keep them there. The only things I really liked in this episode was Gur's freak out at the beginning, and then Zim like giving a nice speech, about getting out where they were, and then he just abandons everyone. That was pretty funny, so I like those two scenes. And this episode's a solid C. Now we got Bolognius Maximus. It's actually, this is an A. This was a fun episode. You have another Zim versus Dib, but at the end they actually have to help each other, and it's pretty entertaining. My favorite part of this episode was when they were turned into bologna. Well, there were two. Well, there was a lot. I like the part where Dib told Gaz to taste him. Like, he told that to his sister. That was pretty funny. I like the part where Gaz just like ate a piece of Dib randomly. The part where Dib and Zim were just running. Their little waddle was so cute. So yeah, this one's definitely an A. Game Slave 2 is a... I don't know. It was an okay episode. Actually, it's a B. It's another Gaz episode. I love Gaz, and what I really, really liked about this episode was how determined Gaz is. Like, Gaz is so determined to get her game console that she terrorizes a kid in the entire episode. There's also like some Dib moments, but Dib's side plot kind of sucked, so it's a solid B. Battle of the Planets, S. Like I said, all the full episodes are S. Another Zim versus Dib, except they actually use planets this time. That was pretty good. Dib and Zim fighting with actual planets was pretty amusing, and it was an overall solid episode. It was what actually, like I said, all the 30-minute episodes were pretty solid. This one's no different. So Battle of the Planets is an S. And then we have another S episode, Halloween Spectacular of Doom. This is an S. This one is an S because, well, it's a good Halloween episode for one. It also had really good artistic design. Like, the other dimension Dib was going in and out of, I guess, was his mind. That looked really dark and creepy. The monsters had really unique designs. So this episode was really great to look at. Oh, apparently Johnny the Homicidal Maniac makes a cameo. If you don't know what that is, that's some of Jonas's other work. It's a pretty fucked up comic, but it's fun to see, you know, references like that. It had some cool gore moments, like where he like was going crazy over the candy. So yeah, the Halloween episode is an S. Mysteries. This is an A. Mysteries. What I like about this episode is basically you have an event happen and each character gives their own story. So of course Dib makes him look like the good guy and Zim the bad guy. Gaz's version makes them both look stupid, and then Gur's version is completely random and has nothing to do with what actually happened. I love episodes that messes around with different perspectives like that. So Mysteries is a solid A. And then we got Future Dib. Okay, even though I just reacted to all these episodes, Future Dib I don't remember that much. Hold on. What did Dib do in here? I think he got beat up by a monkey towards the end of the episode. Oh, there was a robot Dib in this episode. Because of Zim. Okay, yeah, Zim made like a robot Dib and was like trying to do something, and then it had a few Gaz moments. It was a C. When I reacted to it, I don't think I disliked it like I did Battle Dib. It was just kind of a forgettable episode, but not in a bad way. Like, it had a few good moments. Like, Dib getting beaten up at the end was pretty funny. Let's see. Hobo 13. You know what's funny? Apparently some people don't like this episode. I personally think Hobo 13... I kind of want to put it in A, but let's put it on B. The reason Hobo 13's a B is because what I liked about it was you get to... the whole episode took place in a different planet. So it's always fun to see different planets. You get to see different aliens, which is also neat. Scooge made his return. I love watching Zim just like use his teammates because he's so selfish. And he also actually went at the end, which is pretty funny because Zim didn't deserve it. Um, the B plot with the tallest betting against Zim and then losing was really entertaining. Seeing the tallest lose was pretty great, but I hate that they won at the end because they sent Zim and the person betting on Zim to the fucking sun. But Hobo 13 really wasn't that bad. I really liked it. So Hobo 13's a B. Alright, Walk for Your Lives. Walk for Your Lives. I think this is an A. The reason why I put it as an A was because I thought it was a pretty fun episode. Dib was like in slow motion, and then Gurr had a lot of funny lines in this episode. He actually seemed a little bit smart because Zim was making dumb decisions, and then Gurr was kind of like, no it doesn't, or no it won't. So I enjoyed Walk for Your Lives, so that's a solid A. Mega Doomer is an A as well. I really like Mega Doomer. Zim gets this powerful machine, and it's supposed to make you invisible, but doesn't make him invisible. So Zim is just thrashing through the town with like him showing, but the whole robot is invisible. A lot of funny Gurr moments in here, like Gurr randomly dancing. What else did Gurr do? Oh, he said something about chicken legs, which I thought was funny. I think he ate a kid's flashlight for some reason. So yeah, I like Mega Doomer. Okay, next we got Lice. Lice is definitely an A. Now, I remember I didn't like this episode as a kid, to be honest, because it was a little gross. Watching it now, Jesus, man, this episode is so, like, kind of messed up. Because when the lice outbreak happens, man, these kids are, like, going through so much shit. Honestly, this might be one of, like, the most, like, graphic episodes. Because, like, Zim gets his, like, skin peeled off. Towards the end of the episode, he, like, gets the lower half of his body grinded up. It was kind of graphic, honestly. And then the Lice Queen, who was the lady? There was the teacher lady who's kind of like Dib, and she was obsessed with the Lice Queen that happened to be real. And I really like that parallel between her and Dib. So Lice was a really good episode, so we'll put that at A. Okay, next we got Abducted. Abducted is a solid A. Basically, Zim and Gurr get abducted by aliens dumber than Zim. What I really liked was the aliens that abducted Zim, they were actually in Jonas's other work, which was a pretty cool reference. I like seeing Zim escape from them just because it's so funny when there's actually aliens even stupider than Zim. It was an overall pretty entertaining episode, so Abducted I think's an A. Okay, and now we have the sad, sad tale of Chickenfoot. Huh. I literally just did this episode, reacted to this not too long ago. I hated it. If there were any episode that was bad, actually really bad, it would be this one. The sad, sad tale of Chickenfoot is a D. The reason why this one's a D is because it was just boring and the premise was stupid. It was just some dude in a costume. I know everyone in Invader Zim is stupid, but come on. I didn't care for this episode, so that's a D. Gurr Goes Crazy and stuff. Gurr Goes Crazy and stuff's an A. What was really great about this episode is you actually get to see what Gurr would be like if he was actually smart and competent, and goddamn, Gurr is dangerous, and that's what I loved about this episode. Like, Gurr, when Zim made him smart, he realized how dumb and useless Zim was and tried to take him out, but, you know, Zim somehow won. It was an interesting take on Gurr, seeing him, you know, actually be dangerous, so it was a pretty good episode. Dib's Wonderful Life of Doom. I enjoyed this one. This is an A. The beginning of the episode was perfect. Dib freaks out and throws a muffin at Zim, and then Zim freaks out runs out of the cafeteria screaming, and then he has this entire plan to put Dib in a simulation where his life is perfect. And the simulation was pretty cool. It was interesting to see what Dib could be like, if he had superpowers and people actually believed him. And the end of the episode, the payoff was amazing, where all Zim did was just throw a muffin at Dib and kicked him out. So, the Dib's Wonderful Life of Doom's a solid A. Tack, the Hideous New Girl. You know this was going to be an S. This is actually might be one of my favorite episodes. I just like Tack as a character. She's a very good foil to Zim. She was supposed to be in a lot more episodes before the show got canceled, but unfortunately that didn't happen. It's a Valentine's theme episode, and it's funny how Zim actually thought she had a crush on him. So that whole segment was pretty entertaining. But, seeing another Urkin, go up against Zim is really good. And Tack was a great character. So Tack, the Hideous New Girl's a S. Backseat Drivers from Beyond the Stars. It's an S. No surprise there. The reason this one's an S was because, honestly, I think this is a really solid episode. I would say it's my second favorite episode. When I reacted to it recently, I just realized this is pretty similar to the Invader Zim movie. Not completely, but there are a few things that's in this episode that was actually in the movie. Like, Tack's ship, Dib used that in this episode. He also used it in the movie. The tallest actually going past Earth and Zim wanting them to come. That plot point was also in the movie. And then, of course, the way this episode ends with... Well, it didn't end with the tallest in the sun, but they did get sent to the sun. The movie, however, ended with them in the sun. So it was funny that the tallest went into the sun in this episode and in the movie. This is definitely one of the, top full episodes of Invader Zim. So, of course, this one's going to be an S. Alright, Mortis der Soul Stealer. Okay, I was laughing because people hate this episode, but not only do people hate this episode, apparently the original writers hated this episode. This episode was not that bad. It's a C. I won't put it in D because I did enjoy this episode. I mean, I don't know why people dislike this episode. It had a good premise, Dib summoning, an undead to go up against Zim. Of course, it doesn't go his way, but there's a few memorable moments. The first one, of course, Dib being hit with a sandwich. How could no one not like that? That was my favorite part of the episode, but there was also this scene where Gur was just randomly dancing in the background while Zim and Dib were talking. Like, there was no reason for it, but that always amuses me. I also love when Gur saw the puppies and started licking the glass. Like I said, there's some pretty decent, entertaining moments in here. It's definitely not a D tier, but it's definitely a C. So, Mortis D, Soul Eater is a C. Zim eats waffles. Okay, this is an A. Let's put Zim eats waffles at A. The only reason I'm not putting it in S was because really it was just Zim and Gur eating breakfast the entire episode. But this was a funny episode. Gur had so many great moments in it. It starts off with Gur running and then throwing his drink on Dib. Gur freaking out about the waffles. Dib desperately trying to expose Zim, but it not working. Like, Zim literally had a kid with a fucking drill in his head, and his, the Swollen Eyeball Network, they just thought he was pranking them the entire episode. Also, I love the ending where the robots just randomly came and destroyed Dib's shit. Zim Eats Waffles was really good. I can watch this episode, like, all the time, so let's put that in A. The Girl Who Cried Gnome. Honestly, it had some great moments, honestly. But the girl was so annoying. I hate this girl. She just wanted attention. The gophers shooting up in space was hilarious. But I hate this girl so much, so it's going to be in C. The Girl Who Cried Gnome is a C. Dib Ship Rising. Honestly, it's a B. What I loved about this episode was that Dib was rebuilding Tak's ship. And, I love Tak, so it was really cool, her being, mentioned again. I The main thing you find out in this episode is Dib hates himself because the ship is just like completely self-loathing, which I thought was pretty funny. Also, Gur got taken at the end. I mean, that's pretty messed up. Gur's my favorite character, but a bird took him at the very end of the episode. Either way, Dibship Rising's a B, so yeah. Venedicted, it's a C. It's not the worst episode. I guess what I liked was how there was a school counselor and he was trying to like be on Dib's side, but not really. He was an okay character. Him and Dib was the only thing I really liked, and then Gur trying to eat the fish was the only other thing I remembered. So this one's definitely going to be a C. We have the Voting of the Doom. This is a C. I didn't care for this episode, honestly. It was just Dib versus Zim, but to be the school president. Actually, what I did like was I love how the school is ran. Like, the kids are pretty much brainwashed to say whatever the school says, and if they don't, they get taken out. Like what happened with that girl at the beginning of the episode. That was pretty amusing. Overall, it's just a C, though. Gaz, Taster of Pork. This one is the only full episode that's not an S. Gaz, Taster of Pork. I'll put it at B. My problem with Gaz, Taster of Pork was it was too long. It did not need to be a full episode, but it's a Gaz episode, so I still liked it. It had a lot of great jokes in it. It's always amusing seeing Gaz pissed off. There was this part where this kid ate an apple for some reason, which was so like random because he really enjoyed it. Oh, there was this homeless person that actually stole someone. Like, what was that about? Like I said, it had great moments, but this did not need to be a full episode. If it was a short episode, I probably would have liked it more, but Gaz, Taster of Pork, yeah, that's a B. The next S tier is the fry cook that came from all that space. Man, this was a great episode. I think it might be one of my, let's say, third favorite full episodes. The first being Tak, second Nightmare Begins, and then third this one, for the full episodes at least. Zim finally got caught and had to go back to Food Cordia to, carry out his sentence. Sizzler was a great villain. He wasn't even really a villain. Bro was just doing his job, and I respect that. And all he was trying to do was make Zim do what he was banished to do, because Zim, destroyed his planet. Sizzler wasn't evil or really a villain, but he was imposing, and that's what I like. The chase scene at the end was so good and well animated. Well, a lot of the show was well animated, especially almost every long episode, but man, that chase scene was so good. So yeah, the Fry Cook episode is definitely an S. Alright, last episode on this list is the most horrible Xmas ever. Surprise, it's a S. Like I said, I enjoyed most of the full episodes. This was a good Christmas episode. I just watched it recently for Christmas when I reacted to it, and I forgot it had a short little Christmas song, and this show didn't have any musical numbers. I really enjoyed that part. And it had a few good jokes here. The one with the kid that was questioning the story was hilarious. Had a few good Gurr moments. This was actually one of the very few episodes, if any, where Zim literally almost took over the Earth. Which makes sense because this was actually the final episode. I don't think they intended to end the series on a Christmas episode, but that's pretty much what happened when the show got canceled. So, the most horrible Xmas ever definitely is an S. But, yeah, that's my tier list for Invader Zim. I hope you enjoyed this. Um, if you don't agree with it, it's just my opinion. If you want, leave in the comments what are your top 3 favorite episodes. I'm interested in knowing what people think. And the next thing on my list is definitely the movie, so look out for the Invader Zim movie reaction because I am going to do that. And like I said, if you're new to this channel, check out the reaction I did on this series. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.